Hello, so this video is for you who are possibly thinking about pursuing a career in physics in Brazil, doing a postgraduate program, and thinking about working opportunities in Brazil. So I've given this talk for the Brazilians and I'm giving this talk to you. As I said in the previous video, I'm using the same slides, but I'll be giving this talk in English. So hopefully it will convey my message, okay? So some of these things are not really important to you. So I'm assuming that you finish you either finishing or you finished already your bachelor degree in physics. So then you want to perhaps move to Brazil to do a postgraduate program. And you're thinking about, well, there'll be working opportunities for me there. Well, I assure you there'll be. Obviously depends on how you plan or what your plans are, where are your goals, and etc. So first, one thing I should just to give you an outline of the working opportunities you have in Brazil, being a foreigner, okay? So being a foreigner, if you do at some point eventually is able to speak Portuguese fluently, then all those opportunities will be available to you. I'm gonna explain what they are. If you don't, then most likely you have to go to institutes, research institutes, where you're not required to speak Portuguese at all. So, so let's go through both. Okay, so in the very first one is where you teach, well, at a high school, where you can, a second one where you can teach at the college, right? So in Brazil, we have this private ones and the public ones. And most of the universities in Brazil and colleges are public, okay? So we don't actually, in Brazil, in Portuguese, we don't actually distinguish them. So what actually we do distinguish them, but when we say faculdade, it usually typically means which is private, it's a private institution. When we say university, it usually typically means a public one. They are private universities, but they're very few, okay? So when you say faculdade or a college, it means a private institution. Okay? So you can teach at a private institution if you do speak Portuguese, and there are several of them now in Brazil. There was a boom of colleges in Brazil in the past decade, and then you can teach there. Not specifically in physics courses, so there are engineering courses where they do need someone to teach calculus or something related to physics. You should have a physics background. And there are these institutos federais or federal institutes. These federal institutes are different from the universities. These federal institutes in Brazil, they do have like a high school program, and some of them have a maybe some sort of specialization. Okay, it's not really a master's degree or PhD. It's some sort of specialization that you might do. Okay, so and for these ones, they do require some degree in physics, and then you have to go through that. So the same application is the same as federal universities, but the goal there is that you just teach basically. So it's like being a lecturer in the US, for instance. Okay, so at the university, and then is the usual one, the most known method or path that career path that one takes, where you do a bachelor degree and then you do a master's degree, a PhD degree, and oftentimes a postdoc to then become a university professor. There are research institutes in Brazil, at least in physics. There are many, okay, but in the areas of research that the school will be focused on, which is particle physics, astroparticle physics, cosmology, and fields. There are basically four. One is this ICP Safer in São Paulo, which is where Institute of Theoretical Physics is. It's the same building. The only difference is that on the fourth floor, there is this ICP Safer, okay, which is a branch of the ICTP from Italy. So you have this one, you have ON, which is National Observatory, is mostly focused on cosmology and astronomy in Rio de Janeiro. There's one CBPF, which is Center for Brazilian Physics or something like that. I don't even recall in Portuguese how what these letters mean. So, which is also in Rio de Janeiro, and then we have this Institute of Physics, International Institute of Physics in Natal, where I act as a professor. So these are the 4 universities, 4 institutes, research institutes really focus on research where you do have to teach, but it's not as the same teaching load as the other universities, okay? And, and the salaries of these different things of these different possibilities are quite different. So it's hard maybe for you as a foreigner get an idea, get a sense of what really salary means. So instead of talking numbers, I'm gonna give you an idea of comparing to the minimum wage. Then you can sort of have a feeling of how much that is compared to your country. I'm saying this because I have people from Chile, people from Argentina, people from Colombia, and there are several countries. I don't even recall what else, what the other countries people had applied to for this school. Okay, have applied to attend this school. So, for instance, at a college, at a high school, professors here, teachers earn about 2 to 3 times the minimum wage, which is the starting salary. Okay, so everything I'm gonna say right now is from now on is the starting salary. The starting salary is about 3 times the minimum wage. So at a college, it's about 3 times the same. Obviously, it depends on how much will be your teaching load. So if your teaching load is very high, you have a high teaching load, then you might earn more. Okay, 5, 6 times the minimum wage. I know someone who earns 6 times the minimum wage. At the federal institutes, which are focused on high school mainly, they earn about 8 times the minimum wage. Well, the starting salary, if you have just a bachelor, for instance, in physics or something similar, then you get earn about 4 times the minimum wage, 5 times the minimum wage. Okay, so if you have all the diplomas in mind, a master's or PhD degree, then the salary will be the same as the federal universities, as I'm going to talk right now, So the federal universities, the starting salary of a university professor, if you do have a PhD degree, which is required, the minimum requirement, you earn about 9 times the minimum wage. The research institutes, the starting salary is also about 9 times, so 10 times the minimum wage. So 10 times the minimum wage, that's roughly the starting salary of researchers in Brazil. So then you can have a feeling of how much that is in your country. So besides that, once you do a postgraduate program in Brazil, if you come to Brazil to do a postgraduate program, then eventually you decide that's not for you, but you want to do something else in your life. And there is a growing working market in Brazil, where you can use your knowledge in physics to pursue different careers, usually in the finance sector. So for instance, these are things that I grabbed from LinkedIn yesterday. So I'm talking to you on 10th of October. So yesterday, that's when I grabbed this information. So you can get there. So for instance, I looked just quickly, right? So it didn't take me more than 5 to 10 minutes to grab all this information and put in this slide for you. So that's you. I'm just saying this so you can see how quickly you can find working opportunities. So, and I don't think that having a bachelor from being a foreigner will, for instance, affect your chances of getting that job. It might even actually be, you might even increase your chances of getting that job, because oftentimes they really welcome people who can speak more than one language. So if you do end up speaking Portuguese, and if you come in with a Spanish, you are native Spanish speaker, that's great for you. And if you end up speaking English as well, so I know a former postdoc of mine who got one of those jobs because he's from Colombia and he speaks Portuguese fluently, and he also speaks English fluently, so he got a very good job in the market. So, so you can, for instance, all these jobs I'm listing here, they pay as minimal salary 7 to 12,000 reais. So what that means is 7 to 12 times the minimum wage. The minimum wage in Brazil is about 1,000 reais. So the starting salary is about 7 times. I know, for instance, I visited countries in Latin America before I visited Colombia, Chile before, and I do know that the earning 7 times the minimum wage is quite a lot for any Latin American country. So, and plus that, you receive some benefits such as medical care and etc. So it's quite good. But all of them do require, besides your physics degree, they do require that you should have an intermediate level of English and programming. Most importantly, Python. So you should, if you're planning to pursue a career in one of these, in the finance market, for instance, I do advise you to learn a little bit of programming and have an intermediate level of English. Being in one of these institutes that I told you before, for sure, before you finish your PhD degree, well, it really depends on the group. I wouldn't say for sure, but depending on the group which you join as a student, which is, if this group is quite international, where the group meetings are in English and there are several international collaborators visiting the group, for certainly by the end of your PhD degree, you're going to have at least intermediate level of English. So this will come naturally for you. And besides these opportunities, I also found on Google one opportunity that I found quite striking to me, because I do have an account on XP. XP is a broker in Brazil where you can buy stocks and so on. And because I do have an account there, and they have an announcement, they have a call for 600 employees, right? Earning from 5 times to 20 times the minimum wage. Obviously, the requirements for 20K or 20 times the minimum wage, they are much higher than just a bachelor's degree in physics. So, but all of them you should be aware of that all of them do require, besides the degrees in physics, so the degrees in physics are welcomed, okay? So besides the degrees in physics and other related areas, they do require you to have an intermediate level English, and I don't know what intermediate level English for them, but they do require intermediate level of English and some programming skills. Some of them, they do not require programming skills. Some of them do require programming skills. So it depends, okay? So there's 600 opportunities, job opportunities. So they are very different from each other. And besides that, I found one call at Bradesco, I guess is a very famous bank in Brazil and a very popular bank in Brazil, one of the largest ones in Latin America. And this call is for students, postgraduate students, or people who have earned their bachelor degree in physics and who wants to migrate to the finance sector, and what they're offering is a fellowship of 2.4 to up to 3 times the minimum wage, and working 6 hours a day, working hours. Okay, so it's 6 hours a day and you earn 2.4, 3 times the minimum wage, and you get some benefits moreover, okay? Moreover, you get some benefits. So it's quite nice. I mean, this is a fellowship, so it's a temporary job, and it's quite nice, right? So if you're trying to migrate to these sectors, it's a way of you get to know things before you really move on, move out of academia or etc. So this is basically what I had to say, and that's one thing I should emphasize to all of you. More importantly than the institution, I emphasize the more important than the institution that you're planning to go to is the group you're planning to go to. So at this school, so you're gonna see talks from several different professors. All these professors from the school are located in the Northeast, okay? So they are, I'm not saying they are better, it just was just, that's the way I thought to do it, to promote researchers from Northeast of Brazil. And they are amazing professors as well from the Southeast and from the South of Brazil, okay? And from the North. But this school, particularly this year, was focused on professors from the Northeast. So you can, on the web page, I do advise you to look there. You're gonna see a link for their LaTeX CV profile, where you can find all the info you need to see whether that professor is suitable for you or not, what his research does interests you in somehow. So you should check all this information. Okay, so basically that's what I had to say for today. And please give me some feedback whether this is being helping you in some way. Okay, so it would be really nice to receive some feedback from some of you that all this material we are preparing is helping you somehow. Okay, all right, that's all I had to say for you today. Bye.